Is it already time to start panicking? Probably not, but there are some concerns as training camp continues. We'll talk about those, plus an Eagles favorite makes it into the top 100 again, and a surprising update in the DB competition. All that and more, so without wasting any more time, let's dive right into it. What's up, y'all, and welcome to Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Olde City Sports Network, the best network for all your Philadelphia sports needs. This is your host, Michael Roscoe, and we are officially on our fourth season of the show. It's crazy to think that we're going into the fourth NFL season since starting the podcast, and it's been a hell of a ride for sure. I've gone from recording audio only in a downstairs closet to being part of a sports network, reaching listeners across 76 different countries on all 6 inhabited continents, and many more fantastic opportunities and achievements that I've been blessed to have come my way, and I am thankful for every second of it. But anyway, we know what you all are here for, so let's roll right into this week's topics. Starting off, we have a roster update as the Eagles have opened up a spot on the 90-man roster after waiving defensive end Taquan Graham. Up until yesterday, the spot remained open until the Eagles re-signed wide receiver Brandon Hayes, who was with the team earlier in the offseason and will currently share the number 47 jersey with undrafted free agent rookie linebacker Deontay Lawson. Some people thought that when this spot opened up, that it was going to be immediately for defensive end Brandon Graham, who remains off the roster. However, as of this time, he remains unsigned by the team. In other Eagles news, another Eagle makes the NFL Top 100. We got more Eagles making the NFL Top 100 list for 2026, and this next guy is surely a fan favorite. Eagles cornerback, he's not a safety, Cooper DeJean moves up 22 spots to number 38 on the 2026 NFL Top 100, heading into his third NFL season. No surprise here, as the young corner continues to improve after each year and has already become a massive fan favorite. Between his fourth down stop on Jamar Chase, his truck tackle on Derrick Henry, to the birthday pick six in the Super Bowl, and everything in between, DeJean came out guns blazing when awarded a starting opportunity during his rookie year and has been nothing but amazing since in year 2 as well. In the 2025 season, he registered 93 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble. So congrats to Coop on his accomplishments, and I can't wait to see what year 3 has in store for him. All right, y'all, let's go on to the main topic of this week's episode, and that is the training camp updates that we have. So, about 6 days of practice have occurred so far, and here are some of what I think are the biggest topics of the training camp so far, some of which are drawing some concerns amongst Eagles fans. The first subtopic of training camp updates involves injuries, especially to wide receivers. We've already seen a lot of injuries across training camps all over the league, and the Eagles are unfortunately no exception. On top of edge rusher Jonathan Grenard being on the physically unable to perform list, rookie wide receiver Mekhi Lemon seems to have re-aggravated his previous hamstring, not practicing on Wednesday after not participating in team drills on Tuesday. Plus, the undisputed wide receiver one Devontae Smith was also seen observing practice from the sidelines for the second day in a row, dealing with a hamstring injury of his own. Again, without knowing the full story or any context at all, this could send somebody into a full-on fucking panic mode. I'll be honest, I felt a little uneasy after seeing that. I'm like, oh God, it's happening already. The injury bug has hit the Eagles. We're already down our top wide receivers. What the fuck are we going to do? However, both of their hamstring issues are being reported as not long-term issues. However, this was said about Mekhi Lemon the first time he injured his hamstring earlier in the offseason, and yet here we are again. So at the very least for Mekhi Lemon, I can't fully agree with this not being a long-term issue. I think, though, historically, when it comes to Eagles training camp, this team is extremely cautious when it comes to injuries, specifically during training camp. So this is a noteworthy consideration when looking at the Lemon and Smith injuries, because we've seen what happens when other teams' medical teams try to rush players back into the game, and it almost never works out well. Lemon and Smith aren't the only ones dealing with hamstring injuries, though, as wide receiver kick returner Britton Covey and rookie safety Cole Wisniewski did not participate in Wednesday's practice due to hamstring injuries of their own. That's 4 players specifically dealing with hamstring injuries. Other players absent from Wednesday's practice included edge rusher Keyshawn James Newby with an ankle injury, and offensive lineman Landon Dickerson and Lane Johnson, both non-injury related absences. So that's at least good on that part. Even though the top wide receivers are dealing with injuries right now, which is a blow to the offense, I think, but depth-wise, the Birds are in a much better position this year than last year with the wide receiver group, considering after Mekhi and Smitty, you got Dontavian Wicks, Hollywood Brown, Darius Cooper, and Elijah Moore, amongst others, which looks like a very strong depth group to have. So to me, this helps ease tensions a little bit, but I'm still hoping the Birds can get past this injury bug before week 1. Next news involving training camp, it was a rough day for Tuesday's practice for the offense. So piggybacking off of the previous topic, the offense had a rough day of practice, a day that those who were in attendance and watching said it, quote, looked unorganized or discombobulated. Basically, it was a clusterfuck of a day. But now realizing that the offense was dealing with several first-team player absences with Mekhi Lemon, Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, and Lane Johnson, it makes a lot more sense why it seems so fucking discombobulated. In place of those players, for the wide receivers, you had Dontavian Wicks and Hollywood Brown leading the receiver core, along with Darius Cooper in the mix, while guard Drew Kendall and tackle Markel Bell saw time with the first team in place of Dickerson and Johnson. Even with Jalen Hurts' praise for Wicks and Brown on their talents and dedication, which is very well justified, they're both killing it in practice, it's no surprise that the offense struggled without their top 2 receiving weapons, as any team in the league would, and with 2 of their 5 offensive starting linemen not present. Needless to say, I knew a day like this would happen during camp. We had seen a lot of positive news beforehand, and then this kind of like very shitty day to be reported about, because this is what it is, y'all. It's camp. It's the first fucking series of full practices, all while under yet another brand new offensive system, mind you. Every team, even the elite ones, have their struggle moments during training camp, especially if they're dealing with sudden injuries, especially a lot of them to the first team players. So there's no need to panic over one bad day for the offense, even if Eagles haters in your lives try to have a fucking field day with it. On the plus side, though, the team did seem to have a bounce back day in a shorter Wednesday practice. Some of the highlights that had been reported about included several well-placed deep ball throws by Hurts, including an end zone corner shot to Dallas Goedert, who ended up not catching it, but that's more of the receiver not catching it versus Jalen Hurts' fault, and a crossing route pass from Hurts to Wicks for a 25-yard gain, as well as a few instances of Hurts making decisions to use his legs, including one where his receivers were locked up and the protection collapsed, and it resulted in a big gain up the middle on his feet. So it was a nice little pickup day after a difficult Tuesday. All right, next in training camp news, we got Uar Bernard registering his first sack. So, in his 4th full practice, not just with the Eagles, but with fucking playing football in general, 7th round defensive tackle Uar Bernard registered his first sack against rookie quarterback Cole Payton, while I'm assuming he was working with the 3s and the 4s. Now, of course, I know that in that instance, it wasn't a full padded sack and it's against the reserve members, but for a guy who's never played organized professional or even just organized American football in general a day in his life, that's some exciting news, especially from a coach's perspective, and I know defensive line coach Clint Hurt was fired up about it. Now, while progress is progress, the Nigerian talent still has a long way to go, and that idea was reinforced by defensive coordinator Vic Fangio during a Wednesday press conference in which he stated, quote, he's light years away when asked about Bernard's development and progress, yada, yada, yada. While it sounds kind of harsh, especially without understanding the bigger picture, Philly prides themselves on long-term development as opposed to immediate impact. Think about Jordan Mailata. He came over from Australia, never played American football in his life, and just after a couple of years or so, he became a starter and then one of the most dominant players at his position not long after that. It was a long-term investment that paid off. They saw his potential, but knew that it was going to take some time for him to develop. So instead of banking on the idea that he could be this day one or year one impact player, they chose to keep him as an investment. And again, it really paid off, and I could see Philly using that same game plan for Bernard. Hopefully for Bernard, his impact is immediate enough to earn a roster spot to be able to develop under some of the best defensive linemen in the league. All right, next we're going to talk about Lane Johnson, as he has been absent from 4 of the 6 practices. All-Pro right tackle Lane Johnson missed his 4th practice since the start of training camp on Wednesday. However, Johnson's absences are not injury-related, as he has received permission to be excused from practice. Now, it's unknown as to what the personal reason or reasons are. However, Jeff McLean of the Philadelphia Inquirer reported that Johnson is expected to return to practice, quote, soon. Hopefully his absence is not for some unfortunate reason or reasons, and that we see him return to practice soon enough, as the team is already nearly a week into training camp and the season is coming up super quickly. All right, last training camp update for this week's episode is a DB competition update. Now, I say DB competition because of how the specific player I'm about to talk about is being utilized. Obviously, Quinyon Mitchell, Reek Woolen, and Cooper DeJean are your starting corners at the 2 outside and the 1 slot positions. Plus, we know Andrew Makuba is likely to start at 1 safety spot, so I'm mainly referencing elsewhere. Apparently on Tuesday and in Wednesday's practice, Michael Carter II, a slot corner turned safety conversion project player, if you will, had a very impressive day on Tuesday, making a stellar action movie-like interception off of Jalen Hurts on a pass intended for Hollywood Brown. Plus, according to Glenn Irby of the Eagles Wire, Michael Carter's versatility has earned him a starting position in the dime role, this according to defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with dime role or dime package, if you heard it in that manner, it's basically where the defense rotates out a linebacker to make room for a 6th defensive back to provide extra speed and help on pass coverage plays. So if I had to guess it, in dime packages, the starting DBs are going to be Quinyon Mitchell, Reek Woolen, Cooper DeJean, Andrew Makuba, Marcus Epps, and now Michael Carter. Now, Carter still has a long way to go to show that he's more than just a starting dime player if he wants to earn more field time, as the competition for the safety 2 spot between him and Epps, I feel like, is still underway. Although I could see Carter's versatility giving him a slight edge in the competition, but it's not enough to immediately dethrone the idea that Marcus Epps is going to start opposite of Andrew Makuba. Because the Eagles typically use a 2-high safety shell and cover 4, he would still have to outplay Epps on a regular basis to be one of the 4 routine defensive backs on the field during the majority of the defensive scheme. Regardless, it's kind of a surprising but awesome update for a player who I originally once saw as a competitor for a reserve role to making a big boost for some more playing time. All right, y'all, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching at 2nd and 15 or by the full name 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can also find the audio for each and every single episode releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, or wherever you get your podcasts, with a video uploading to YouTube later that same day. And don't forget to check out the description of each episode for promo codes from our sponsors, including Warlord Beard Oil, SeatGeek, and W Energy, to save yourself up to 10% or $20 off of your purchases. Check out those promo codes down in the description of every single episode. Once again, thanks y'all for joining in for the Season 4 premiere. This is 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Olde City Sports Network. And if you're excited for the start of the NFL season as I am, and just can't wait for some NFL action to get going, Well, fans will get a first taste of the new season tonight as the Hall of Fame game, aka the first preseason game of the year in Canton, Ohio, airs tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time with coverage beginning at 7 on NBC, Peacock, and NFL Plus. And I want to say NFL Network too, but I'm not sure. This game will feature former Eagle Kenny Pickett on his new team, the Carolina Panthers, leading the way at the quarterback position for the Panthers, opposite of rookie Carson Beck of the Arizona Cardinals. Sure to be an interesting game. As for the Eagles, their first preseason game will occur on Friday, August 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern in Baltimore, Maryland against the Ravens. As for 2nd and 15, we will see you all next week. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle, and as always, go Birds!